Many thanks for joining us on News Hour 2. My name is Sani Abdurrahman. In this package, we'll be bringing you the very latest on the minorities' move at the Supreme Court demanding the reversal of the passage of the controversial e-levy. Of course, it has been passed, and we are already seeing reactions from the international capital market where Ghana's bonds have been rallying since. But we'll be bringing you very latest on that. But let's start with one of the major headlines for today, because the Japan Motors assembly plant at the Tema industrial area is officially opened. President Akufo-Addo formally opened the $9 million facility, which has the capacity to produce 11,593 unit vehicles per annum. The president said the entry of Nissan, Toyota and VW into the country's automobile industry will help reduce Ghana's vehicle import bill of $1.5 billion a year.
Conclude by assuring all stakeholders within the automotive industry of my government's determination to support the industry. We will continue to design innovative policies to ensure the sustainability of the industry, including developing a vehicle financing scheme aimed at supporting the purchase of locally assembled vehicles. I wish again to commend highly the stakeholders of Japan Motors and Nissan Motor Corporation for this major investment initiative. This investment will be safe and profitable in Ghana.
Now, the minority in Parliament have dragged the Attorney General to the Supreme Court, challenging the approval of the electronic transactions levy. The minority argued that Parliament did not have the required number of at least half of its members present when the e-levy was approved. The House on Tuesday approved the controversial policy after the minority staged a walkout in protest against the revenue measure. The Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Yorga, said his side will employ legal means to reverse the passage of the e-levy. He was speaking on GTV Breakfast this morning.
I just told you that you are engaged in a fight and you are looking at your objective. Our objective was not just to be seen fighting e-levy. Because we've fought e-levy, we've exchanged blows, we've thrown chairs, we've done everything possible. And for 5 months, they haven't been able to pass e-levy. And we fought effectively because we've noticed that we had the numbers to fight. On this day, we didn't have the numbers to fight. And unless you are of the group that just want us to be seen fighting till the end, and then we have lost because we didn't have numbers, and we don't belong to that group. We want to actually prevent e-levy from becoming law, not just the populism of being seen to have fought e-levy. And so at that crucial moment, we know that the Constitution says that you need a quorum to take a decision. And so that became the tool, the most effective, important tool, the fact that they didn't have a quorum if we walked out. And so we deployed that. We believe that at that moment, the Speaker ought to have taken stock of the number of MPs in the chamber.
So he should have called for a count?
To determine if he had a quorum to proceed.
A head count?
Yes, because if you recall, when we were debating and about to take the decision on the budget itself, the majority walked out. When they walked out, if you recall, he counted. He counted as the minority and established that we were 137 and said we had quorum. The Supreme Court says, no, you don't have quorum. 137 is not quorum. So he counted us and established that we were 137. So when we walked out, we expected that he would conduct a count. But that didn't happen. But the fact that he didn't count us does not deprive us of evidence that there was actually 136, because we have the cameras that show that there was just 136 members in the chamber. And so there was no quorum. So whatever happened thereafter was a nullity. Now, that in effect is the relief we are seeking. we are seeking the Supreme Court to enforce its own decision that you need 138 people present before you can take a decision. So we are saying that there wasn't 138.
Now, the Minority Caucus in Parliament has queried the exclusion of some names of its members from list of MPs present on Tuesday, March 29, 2022, the day e-levy bill was passed. According to the Minority Caucus, only one of their members was absent due to ill health. Earlier on Thursday morning in Parliament, during the corrections of vote and proceedings of March 29, it was captured that 7 minority members of Parliament were absent. Parliamentary correspondent Rachel Kote joins us with more details from this developing story. Rachel, if you can hear me, what has brought about this agitation between the minority and the clerk of Parliament over the number of people present on March 29?
Hello, Sunny.
Yes, Rachel.
On Tuesday, when the e-levy was passed, the minority had a problem with the quorum that was formed to pass the bill. So today, they raised the issue of 8 members on their side being excluded from the vote and proceeding of Tuesday, 29th March. It's very, very important for them because they plan to file a case concerning the legitimacy of the passage of the e-levy bill at the court. So they need evidence to that matter. Now, they are saying that on Tuesday, on the third day, only one member on their side was absent, and that was Mr. James Chikwese, because he had a case at the court. So he was absent. Apart from that, 7 other MPs who were reported to be absent were actually present, and they were here today to verify that they were present. One of them, 2 of them were Mr. Cleto Savoka and then Mrs. Elizabeth Ofusu-Ajari. Now, the records that was released today also showed that the MP for Dom Pabinya, Madame Sarah Safo Ajwa, was not present. And then one other MP on the majority side.
Rachel, if I get it clearly, it means the table office has made the correction to reflect what the minority has been asking for?
Yes. The corrections were made when the concerns were raised by the minority side. So the speaker ordered the table office to make those corrections to that effect.
Of course, very important for the minority, especially as they move to get the passage of the...
In the coming days, we want to challenge the passage of the...
Has the House started to debate the State of the Nation address as indicated yesterday, and what has been the discussion on so far?
Well, currently the House is on a break. The House is on break, and they will come back later in the afternoon to start the debate on the State of the Nation address presented by the President.
Okay, Rachel Kote, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on what's happening in Parliament. Let's move on to some other stories making headlines today. A proposed 15% upward adjustment in transport fares today has been put on hold. The increment follows the recent increase in fuel prices in the country. Road transport operators increased transport fares by 15% not too long ago, which took effect last month. But following the recent increase in fuel prices, they've been contending to increase fuel prices again, and that has led to a bit of division among players in the transport sector, with some proposing more than 15% increase, and the GPRTU wanting to have a uniform increase in the transport fares. We'll go live to speak with the public relation officer of GPRTU, Abbas Umoro, who was part of the meeting this morning. Abbas, if you can hear me, thank you so much for your time this morning, this afternoon rather.
We are currently above 30% in the fuel increment. We decided today to call this press conference and announce to the whole nation that effective from a date we would have announced, which we have just postponed. We are in the middle of the meeting when we heard tomorrow there is going to be reduction of fuel prices. Hence, we have suspended our press conference pending tomorrow's reduction. We have to look at how much is going to be reduced from the fuel to inform us on how much we should also come up with. This has affected our projection. Definitely, we are going to come out with upward adjustment in lorry fares, but it has affected our projection. The actual percentage that we have projected to come out with, should we come out today and tomorrow there is a fuel reduction, we are not saying when we come out with whatever we are going to come out with and there is a personal reduction, then we are going to revisit it. That's not what we are saying. But we've heard there's going to be a huge difference, hence affecting our projection for today's press conference. For the public information, we are not happy with upward adjustment in lorry fares because we know it affects everything across board. But what else can we do? We have no choice. Without fuel, we can't run transport. And we are into serious commercial business if we don't increase our lorry fares alongside the upward adjustment in fuel prices. We cannot get to where we want to.
Quite some good news there for consumers as well as those of us using public transport, because we've heard the Bank of Ghana has made some special arrangements to supply foreign exchange to BDCs, and that will result possibly in a reduction in transport fares. Quite some good news. But away from that story, the Data Protection Commission says it has presented about 250 names of individuals and organizations to the Office of the Public Prosecutor for advice. Briefing the media in Accra, the Executive Director of the Commission, Madam Patricia Edu, said over 800,000 defaulters owe the Commission 1.5 million Ghana cedis, making it almost impossible for it to carry out its mandate effectively. The Commission, she said, would not hesitate to prosecute those defaulting individuals and organizations. They have 14 days grace period to live up to expectation.
Over the years since the law has been passed, we've been making every effort to educate the Ghanaian public about this mandate, the responsibility of data controllers, that is institutions and bodies and persons that collect and process personal data, that they have enough awareness to understand their obligations under this law. We have taken our time to commence the prosecution of individual companies and institutions that are defaulting of their obligation, because we felt that we must educate and engage with them and cooperate with them. We gave them an amnesty period of 6 months to allow those who are defaulting or under the radar to come and register themselves as required under Section 46(3) of our Act, to comply with the obligation to register. Some came, others still haven't. And so we have compiled a list of those who have failed to register with the Commission. We have about 800,000 on our list. This list is only 2.5% of the list, which is about 251 institutions who have received their 14-day notices from us to come and make put themselves in good standing with the Commission within 14 days and have failed. We are going to issue Section 56 letters to all these defaulting institutions and give their key decision makers a chance to respond to this the defaulting charge that we want against them by giving us a statement or explaining why they haven't come to the Commission to register, or the other option that they have is to just come and register. So they either come and register within 2 weeks of our issuing of the Section 56 letter, or they get prosecuted.
Now, the migratory crisis and terrorist attacks in several West African nations have highlighted the need to reinforce the sub-region's external borders. Border management authorities from the Gulf of Guinea are working on concrete measures to safeguard border security. This comes at a time when most countries have reopened their borders to ensure the free movement of goods and services after cases of COVID-19 minimized across the world.
Ensuring effective border security and management is essential for preventing and countering the flow of suspected terrorists and foreign terrorist fighters across land, air, and maritime borders. To key interest groups, border security and management is imperative to curb the illicit cross-border movement of arms, ammunition, explosives, hazardous materials, goods and cargo that may be used for terrorist purposes, the spread of extremist groups and diseases, smuggling of goods, numerous unofficial crossing points, child trafficking, inadequate equipment and infrastructure, and collection and management of migration data, among other activities affecting effective border management, continue to dominate discussions. To mitigate these challenges, authorities from Niger, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Ghana and Nigeria are currently in Accra for a regional border management workshop to share varied experiences threatening the effective management of the various borders. The Deputy Comptroller General of Finance and Administration at Ghana Immigration Service, Mr. Kwame Esuya-Tichi, said, though the service has made some progress, cooperation and coordination with regional partners will help countries to respond to emerging border management challenges.
The government has done a lot in providing us with tents and all the other accoutrements, which I cannot mention here, but we still need more help, especially when it comes to the detention facilities. In the era of COVID, you see COVID is still around. It hasn't gone completely. When we take these people who are problems, including infected persons, we must have places to keep them. But if you look at a border like Aflao or even Elubo, the space, you can realize that we don't even have those facilities.
The Chief Director of the Ministry of Interior, Mrs. Adlid Anokumi, said the government is responding to the challenges at the borders through a long-term sustainable interventions.
We've done a lot of provision of equipment to strengthen their resilience, as it were, especially the Ghana Immigration Service. Hitherto, they didn't wield arms. Now, they wield arms by the introduction of their new immigration law, and they've been going through a lot of training with other security agencies, especially the military and the police. Because of the extremist developments in the sub-region, it has become necessary to toughen the immigration officers, and these kinds of training have really helped them to build their capacity for the task ahead.
The regional management workshop organized by the International Organization on Migration, IOM, is an indication of countries striving to get things done together for desired results.
The Gaming Commission of Ghana has embarked on a field operation to confiscate illegal analog gaming machines in the country. The operation seeks to streamline gaming activity and ensure there is no underage gaming.
Commission in 2018 issued a notice to all gaming operators on its intention to phase out all analog and non-digital slot machines, popularly known as jackpot machines, within the gaming landscape in Ghana. The ban took effect on January 1, 2022, but the directive forms part of the Commission's effort to upgrade the industry to meet international standards, protect minors from gaming, and curb the incident of exploiting the vulnerable. As part of the exercise by the Commission to clamp down on illegal operators who operate against the directive of the Commission, over 20 gaming machines were confiscated while other gaming centers were locked up upon a tip-off. Some operators claim they were not aware of the phasing out of the analog gaming, while others were of the view more education needs to be done.
We were informed that tax is being paid annually to government. I even have proof of receipts. If I had known it's illegal, I wouldn't have helped in its operation.
My son is mostly absent from school because of this game of chance. I'm happy such an exercise is underway.
A resident at Dome commended government for such an initiative, but stressed security agencies should be deployed to the centers to ensure that children do not patronize betting.
Some of the students, instead of them to be in school, stay at school, they will go out and then spend money, steal their parents' money and come and spend it because of these games. So it will not help. I think what you are doing is sacking them, seizing these machines will help the nation to grow well.
The head of public relations at the Gaming Commission, Ms. Beatrice Baden, says the exercise is to ensure that all gaming operators strictly comply with the rules and create a sustainable gaming industry for national development.
As part of our efforts to upgrade and then also meet international best practices, we've implemented a lot of policies and interventions. For instance, we have something that we call the Know Your Customer, which mandates all operators to ensure that they verify and authenticate the identifications of all players who engage in gaming. And it's also one step to ensure that minors do not have access to these gaming facilities.
The Gaming Commission is appealing to the general public to volunteer information about any illegal gaming operation to the nearest police station.
Now let's turn our attention to the health sector, because the morbidity and mortality rates from non-communicable diseases remain high in the country, especially among the youth. It is for this reason the director of the Public Health Division at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, Dr. Delanyo Dovlo, is asking the Ghana Health Service to investigate the determinants of the diseases in the foods consumed. Now, while addressing the Ghana Health Service Senior Managers meeting in Accra, he also emphasized the need to sustain the gains made at curbing COVID-19 despite the ease in restrictions. A report by Sarah Ofori.
Over 250 health managers and agencies in the health sector are reviewing the 2021 performance of the sector and to deliberate on how to effectively strengthen the health system aimed at a universal health coverage. Maternal and children under 5 mortalities, high attrition of professional nurses, the high burden of non-communicable diseases, and attaining herd immunity from COVID-19 are some challenges requiring more interventions. The Director for Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Alberta Brichum-Nyako, also enumerated inadequate infrastructure to ensure equity and quality healthcare, weak clinical emergency response, inadequate and erratic cash flow, among others, are some impediments the Ghana Health Service grappled with. Malaria topped the list of top 10 diseases. To curb vaccine hesitancy, the NGOs in health expressed the commitment to deploy their volunteers to support the Ghana Health Service. It also suggested that a trust fund be set up to deal with the health infrastructural deficits. The private medical and dental practitioners pressed for the need to increase domestic resources and reduce out-of-pocket spending. Speaking on behalf of the development partners, the country representative of UNICEF, Ms. Anne-Claire Dufay, warned that Ghana be cautious following the ease in the restriction of COVID-19 safety protocols and urged the Ghana Health Service to have monitoring and evaluation plans in place to prevent the health sector from being overwhelmed. The Director of the Public Health Division at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, Dr. Delanyo Dovlo, who has over 30 years' experience in health, said Ghana must always stand in readiness for pandemics with a resilient health system.
we don't understand, for example, completely the level of salt that is in the kenke we eat every day. It's unclear what kind of carcinogens are in the fried fish. It's important as we move along to try and determine what are the factors in our nutrition, health, and so on that are impacting our health. Simply providing the sophisticated equipment and so on to handle it is not enough.
The theme for the meeting is comprehensive service delivery in a pandemic, leaving no one behind. Sarah Fori, GBC News, Accra.
We do more of health stories because the Mental Health Authority has begun enlightening students on mental health issues. It marked World Bipolar Day with students of the Odogono Senior High School in Accra educating them about the different types of mental illness, the telltale signs and the treatment required. The head of promotion at the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Yawamanka Arthur, was hopeful that although many are oblivious to mental health issues, reaching out to educate them could correct myths and change negative perceptions attached to mental health issues. A report again by Sarah Ofori.
Students are often predisposed to anxiety disorders, sexual abuse, drug addiction and stress. These are usually symptoms of mental illnesses or conditions, if not managed properly, could have dire consequences on the student, peers, family and society as a whole. According to a tutor and counselor for Dogono Senior High School, Mr. Isaac Osebunsu, the students are given confidential counseling and referred to psychiatrists or psychologists where necessary. Over 1,000 students were given a comprehensive education on mental health, the causes, symptoms, the triggering factors, treatment regimen, and how to relate to patients or persons affected. Madame Cecilia Ashale is a person who lived with bipolar.
Sometimes, you see, I could go walk on the streets without knowing that I was naked. People could come to me and then cover me with clothes. For me, I thought that I was clothed. I was okay, I was fine. But obviously, people around you will notice when you change in your behaviors. The way people treated me in the community, when you walk past by, then they'll be pointing fingers at you. Hey, you understand a bit of Ghana, right? So you can imagine what you feel.
The students acknowledged that, but for the sensitization, they had little clues about mental health.
I've read it is not a madness, and then I've also realized that indeed we are to go closer to people with bipolar, and then we should show empathy.
As a student, I've learned that we have to seek advice from elderly people, our teachers, that is the school counseling team, and doctors from outside.
Well, I thought it was only just about someone going naked and stuff, but now I've learned that it can also be like mood swings.
But now I know even being too much happy is also a mental disease or a mental illness. And also being too sad for more than 2 weeks is a very big mental problem.
The head of promotion at the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Yao Amankwa Arthur, said that reaching out to the public will change the erroneous perception on mental health.
Everybody is prone to experiencing some sort of mental health disorder in their lives, and they needed to take care of themselves. And it's also important that they needed to know that seeking help is very crucial to being well. All of us think that mental health conditions is related to spirits and superstition.
Some of the students engaged the resource persons for further counseling. Sarah Ofori, GBC News, Accra.
Now, a community library complex stocked with assorted books to serve school children in Paga and surrounding communities is formally opened in the Kasna-Nankana West District in the Upper East region. The facility was funded by the African Publishing Innovation Fund with support from the International Publishers Association.
Girls Foundation, a charity organization, was birthed in 2021 to offer academic support to school children with no access to academic programs in schools due to the COVID-19 restrictions, including the closure of schools. The founders, made up of university graduates, volunteers and other individuals from the Paga district, are passionate about supporting the young ones in the Paga area academically. The IT director for Learners Girls Foundation, Mr. Mark Kubuga, said the library complex would serve over 20 communities in the Paga district and wishes that the project gets the needed support to benefit the community.
Actually, this will be the first completed library structure in Paga that will serve over 20 communities over here. So we look forward to the community handling it well and then patronizing it.
The facility, which cost about $16,000 has a few computers to offer an e-learning platform to the children. Co-founder of LGF, Bushiratu Kumiriwo, said they are in partnership with Book Aid to donate books to them annually to stock the library. She commended the NCCE, the chief of the area and other stakeholders for their support in this project. Ms. Bushiratu, however, was not happy because the facility has no electricity.
The part of this particular library will be for e-learning, as they will be able to access educational materials worldwide.
The Kasina Nankana West District Director of the National Commission for Civic Education, Mr. Robert Dampari, commended the Learners Girls Foundation for the initiative. He also commended the chief of the area for making land available for the project and urged the children to make good use of the facility to improve their knowledge.
Now, with captivating trails, this destination has the potential to be a favorite among lovers of nature. Not many can resist the temptation to embark on an adventurous journey to experience nature. This particular location, endowed with beautiful scenes, which also qualifies as a holiday destination, is the Paria Waterfall. Paria Waterfall is located in the Savannah region. Our reporter Beatrice Synergy shares with us some sights and sounds.
It was a long journey from Accra to Damango and then onward to Daboya. From Daboya to the Paria town where the waterfall lies, the road is simply put bad. But we made it safely to our local tourist destination. Finally, at Paria, we were further directed to drive for another 30 minutes to the Paria waterfall. It was a vast land filled with different species of trees. We hiked through woods and mini rocks before we actually got close to the untapped waterfall. There are two different waterfalls here. This beautiful waterfall is the first and flows from the apex of the mountains and drops slowly into the valley. It is surrounded by beautiful mini rocks placed on each other and different tree species. Abdul Jalil Ibrahim was my tour guide.
Our grandfathers, they didn't know that this thing is called waterfall. They used to call it Yakala Nabochuri. That is in our local dialect. So it means, you know how the water is from the top falling, you know, that is Churi. That is how they used to know it. So it was officially discovered by a native in our community who used to work at Moli.
Getting to the second waterfall was daunting. It was a slippery walk through some streams. Here, the assistance of a tour guide becomes crucial. I finally got help from others before mastering the courage to walk to the next waterfall. Have a good time here and also enjoy nature. They complain about poor communication network and bad roads, which are a put-off for the Paria tourist sites.
It's good you come here, then you have network so that you can be talking to people at home. But if there's no network, you just come and be here. What is happening here, what's happening here, no one can track you. So it's better we'll get the network. Then we are appealing to our district, those who are in charge too, they should come then clear the road.
A hike to the top of the mountains shows the beautiful formation of rocks. Some of the rocks have the shape and form of animals. There is an area within the rocks where tourists can relax peacefully or grab a book to read. Indigenes believe, though the Kparia waterfall is still virgin, it can change the face of the Kparia community if it is developed to attract tourists.
You come, then you freshen your memories, then you just see nature. You come and discover how the mountains, the rocks, you come and see the formations of rocks, and it's always good for students who, let me just put like geography students, they can come here and learn a lot about nature.
The Kparia waterfall is one of the many tourist destinations in the country that are untapped. Most of these sites are certainly a cash magnet for the country when added to the tourism revenues. For starters, the people of Kparia are calling for the bad roads leading to the sites to be constructed. For me, what stands out in my mind is how we got stuck in the middle of nowhere due to a puncture in the tire of the vehicle on which we were traveling on our way. This is nature, one of the natural endowments of our country. It can generate more income for the nation, but another thing missing is a good telecommunication network to woo travelers to their town. Beatrice Sanaju, GBC News, Kparia.
Beautiful scenes there. It's still News Hour live on GBC News and on GTV. We're also streaming live on Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We go for a break. We return with business. Stay with us.
Good afternoon. It's time for business. My name is Morris Ogbete. Now we look at the connection between technical vocational education and employment. And all qualified candidates who choose to pursue TVET at any government-approved senior high school, senior high technical institute, or TVET institute would enjoy all the benefits of the free senior high school policy. According to the Ministry of Education, the free technical and vocational education training initiative introduced by the government will start in this academic year. The initiative, among other benefits, is to ensure the employability of graduates by synchronizing all existing laws relating to skills training in the country. Dr. Kofi Kosa is a member of the AGI and the sector skills body under CODFET. He joins me via phone for a conversation on this particular initiative. Good afternoon to you, Doc.
Hello, yes. How are you doing?
I'm well. So this should be good news, especially because industry has complained over the years that there remains a very huge gap between academia and what happens on the factory floor.
Yes, very much so, yes.
So how is this particular initiative going to bridge the gap that you've complained about over the years?
Well, yeah, I think it's very laudable in the first place that the government has put skills development at a very high level and is equipping. Right now, about to the Ministry of Education of SHS and TVET schools are going to benefit from the free education. This will allow several otherwise brilliant people but not able to have the requisite amount of funding to be able to go to school, in expensive schools, and be able to help the country. There's no question that the development of a skilled labor force is key to creating industrial growth in the country.
Right.
And for AGI, for example, our new president has initiated the AGI Youth in Business to empower youth and entrepreneurial skills and technical skills development. Okay, so this is something that our president has initiated to help the graduates who are coming out of the technical schools.
Right.
The World Skills, not World Skills, but the World Bank, okay, has said that there will be about 12% youth unemployment, okay, and more than in 2022.
Right.
And that is actually higher than the average in sub-Saharan Africa.
Right.
Okay? So that means that these guys who come out will be trained to be able to help industry.
Right.
And to be able to be employed.
Okay.
And so AGI, through our president, like I said before, has started this youth in business and empowerment.
Right. So now that
companies,
hello,
for
Doc.
example, Kessler Automation.
Hello, Doc. Hello. Now that we're going to have
in students industry ready, because part of the problem is that when they graduate previously, now the government is trying very hard to develop or to bring in equipment for actual hands-on training. So that's very laudable. But to supplement that, it is very important to train them with the right skills for industry. That's the gap.
Right.
That is needed right now. And so companies like Kessler Automation, we are also trying to fill the gap by training technicians and also to train to manufacture equipment for training.
Right. Doc, one of the challenges when it comes to technical vocational training is the lack of the training materials, especially now that we're going to be having a lot more of the students, moving into this particular space because it's free.
Right.
What will be your suggestions? Training materials, the curriculum itself. Should there be any particular review moving forward?
Absolutely. In fact, I happen to be the chairperson for a special skills body. Now, special skills bodies have been initiated by CTVET, okay, to look back up, the special state body is an industry advocate.
Right.
So we as an industry people are driving the development of curriculum for the tertiary school. And I think that's what you are driving at. So we are going to make sure that what goes into the training, okay, of the tertiary people those are the things that industry needs.
Right. Thank you very much. Dr. Kofi Kosa is a member of the AGI there. And so free SHS will be extended to technical vocational training institutions in the country, and that will start this particular academic year. Let's move on. And guidelines for the allocation of foreign exchange through forward auctions to bulk distribution companies has been announced by the Bank of Ghana. The guidelines are expected to govern the conduct of foreign exchange forward auctions on the interbank foreign exchange market.
The Bank of Ghana has indicated that the uncertainty of the future availability of FX and aid price discovery, especially for the general pricing window within the downstream sector. The rules participants are to abide by includes the publication of foreign exchange auction calendar, eligibility, eligible currency and quotation convention, auction schedule and frequency, and bidding processes. The rest are allocation methodology, information and settlement of trade and funding. For publication, the Bank of Ghana will publish an auction target incorporating inputs received from the MPA for the foreign exchange forwards on a bi-weekly basis. The target will be published 4 days preceding the pricing window for the downstream sector on the Bank of Ghana website to enable market participants plan adequate auction volume target, settlement and other relevant information. In terms of eligibility, participation in the auction is restricted to only authorized bulk distribution companies licensed by the MPA through the authorized licensed foreign exchange dealings banks. With regards to the auction schedule and frequency, it will be done in consultation with the MPA on pricing window schedules. The FX auction shall be held bi-weekly and conducted no later than 3 working days before the 1st and 16th of each month. Also, the auction committee will comprise of Bank of Ghana staff appointed by the governor and shall oversee the conduct of the auction and decide on the cut-off rate guided by an allocation methodology. Only authorized Bank of Ghana officials may be present at the time of the auction.
And Ghana's leading telecommunications operator, MTN, is to offer 30% of its mobile money business to local investors, although the company is finalizing the process with the central bank. Chief executive of the company, Mr. Selo Madadevo, has revealed that instead of another initial public offer, the company will resort to private placement. MTN mobile is in 2021 from 1.2 million cedis in 2020.
On the PSSA compliance, PSSA is a Payment Systems and Services Act. This was launched in May 2019 by the Bank of Ghana with regards to mobile money. As part of the requirements, percent we're in that process and continue to have discussions with the regulator on the steps to achieve 30% localization. On the e-levy, we're all aware of this, and this continue to await final guidance and parliamentary approval so that we can proceed. From a technical perspective, we've ensured that we've invested very aggressively to be ready so that once it's approved, we can proceed with the implementation. On SIM registration, we've invested quite a lot in our SIM registration activities to ensure that we could meet the March 31st deadline. But most of you will be aware
CD is performing. So we see the cedi gaining some grounds as the Bank of Ghana prepares to pump after this break. Stay with us.